Alrighty, so I didn't plan on making any sort of video about this. The reason I'm making the video is maybe a bit of a rant, but hopefully in the end of the video the result will be that somebody else who's had something happen underground with their septic system is able to benefit from this information. So a little background. So this is my parents' house. The vault, which would normally be in a septic system, is being used as a lift station. So there's a pump in here. Their sewage happens to be attached to the city sewer, so it's pumped up the driveway, over the driveway, and then down to the road where it goes into the sewer system. So this is a lift station, technically, or essentially. And years ago I had installed a plastic storage tank, and it was vented and was, you know, sold at the plumbing store. And when we got the septic tank out, it stopped working, had it pulled, it was crushed underground. It looked like a crumpled pop can. And so I know it was vented, so it wasn't a function of suction. I think there was too much overburden on top. So we had this, I want to say this is a 20 by 8 or a 20 by 10 vault, concrete vault put in. It's about 3 feet down. And at the time, this was probably 20 years ago, so I would have been in my early 20s, or, you know, a teenager or something. The plumber, obviously it was permitted. The plumber had a separate company drop the tank, and then I'm assuming the plumber did the plumbing, and then had an electrician come out and do the electrical. And I'm not sure how it passed permitting, but it did. And so the issue is recently we noticed sewage in the yard that had bubbled up this summer. It was about 6 months ago. And I knew it was a busted line, and I could tell I had a feeling, and I could tell by the way that it acted, that it was on the pressure side. So that would be from the liquids side of the vault. Solids are over here, liquids are over here. So it was busted in the line from the pump out to the road, because it would only happen at certain times. And so you can see, and I'll show you guys here in a second, it's a huge mess. And so what I found out is, this is my sort of piecing it together, the solids side of the tank has dropped about 6 inches. And when they ran the pipe out, they connected to my old line from the plastic tank. And by the tank dropping, it put both lines in compression. So it started to compress them towards themselves. The pressure side line broke, and the solids inlet, the 3-inch inlet, cracked at a fitting and essentially busted in half, but it's just separated right at the fitting. And so there's a couple of problems. I'm going to check the time real quick. So the couple problems. One, you're not supposed to use ABS on a pressure side. I believe ABS is rated for 5 psi, and I'm sure it develops more than that with the bit of head pressure and then the pump pressure. And so they never should have used ABS. I put Schedule 40 DWV rated PVC in when I was a kid out to the road, and they did ABS, which you may or may not be able to see right now here, and ran it out over there and connected it up. So instead of, the main line runs out that direction from the camera, so instead of going teeing right into the main line, they went over the top of the vault and tied back in over here and did a bunch of goofy crap. So then on top of that, when I dug this up, they had the electrical made up in this sprinkler box. So the sprinkler box is full of dirt. The makeup is just wire nutted. Total, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, electricians, feel free to correct me. It's totally illegal to bury something like this underground with two pieces of electrical that are just made up inside of this. This was partially filled with dirt. I got shocked when I got down there and got to it. I didn't hit it with a shovel. I actually got shocked when I touched the wire nuts because they were all wet and dirty. They ran it in conduit, but then the two sweeping conduit pieces, the piece that comes out of the tank and the piece that goes into this thing, were just ended inside. And so it's not even, I don't know, to me it's not even water resistant, and it's certainly not supposed to be buried. And so my solution is going to be to put it in a box that I can seal up. Now I'm going to probably do something, I don't know if it's legal or not. It's going in a 6-inch box, and I'm going to silicone the lid because I don't plan on getting into it again. And if I do, I'll use a razor blade to get the box open, but I don't ever want to see this thing again. So that's my solution to make it as waterproof as possible. And then when so I didn't have enough movement over here to get the conduit where I wanted it. And so I dug the conduit up, which is behind me here. And then this fitting, you may not be able to see it on camera right now. I heard it crack, and I looked at it, and it was dry glued, meaning that they got a whisper of glue on there, and it just slid out and came into two pieces. And so my frustration is, and this isn't directed towards any contractors that do good work. You know, you guys are exempt from this comment, but holy cow, you really have to be your own advocate as a homeowner. You have to be unafraid to ask questions of your contractor. You really should look over what they're doing when they go home at the end of the day, or periodically come out and ask questions if you don't like what you're seeing, because to me this installation was complete crap. If the plumber was still in business, me and my mom had a discussion about lawsuit. That's how much bullshit is here. It's total crap work. It's just and I've been a good contractor, and I've seen crappy contractors, and so this to me just sucks beyond sucks, because while I'll be done with this side today, I still have to dig up the 3-inch line. It's 6 feet down, and I have to dig enough dirt away that I'm not down inside of something that can cave in on me. And so we're going to end up having to rent a tractor. And we thought about turning it into homeowners insurance, and I don't want my parents' homeowners insurance rate to go up, and so I'm going to take care of it and do it right the way I know it should have been done. When we dug up the trenches, none of the trenches had fill in them that can be readily identified. So here where we're at, you are supposed to backfill your trenches. In this case, the common thing is decomposed granite. We call it DG. And you know when you're in the trench because you'll hit the DG, and then on top of that, they're supposed to put tape near the top of the pipe so that as you're digging, when you go through that tape, you know there's something below it. And so none of that was done at all. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't meet code in so many different ways. And so I'll get you guys off the tripod and sort of show you what I'm dealing with. All right, so if I change the brightness, you can see the stub right there, and then over it. So here is the stub that broke, the pressure side, 2-inch. There's a 3-inch down under that mud, and that also is broke. This side of the vault is down. That right there is the fitting that was dry glued. You can see the end of the makeup here. I labeled everything and took the elbow off because I'm doing a different setup, but this was ran across the top here and into that side there. The old line goes under the walkway, and I didn't dare dig the walkway up, and so I just trenched out by hand from here. I have no idea what those are. and then you can see where the line comes out right there. And I'm going to heat bend this so that it's lined up here, make up this new run. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to interface with that ABS fitting right there, or I'm going to put a new fitting on that stub. And what I'm doing as far as sealing up the electrical is I got this 6-inch box. I'm putting fittings in. There's going to be another one on that side. I'm going to do all my makeup in here and then silicone the lid shut. And I'm going to put tape over the top of it, and I got a load of DG to fill it all back in with. So that's my story. Maybe we'll check in a little bit and see how I'm doing. Talk to you in a bit. Alright guys, so I scuffed this because it had dirt all over it. And then what you're looking to do, or what I'm going to do, is I want to make sure that this second fitting is down on the concrete. You don't want it up because the dirt's pushing on it and you're putting pressure on this fitting. So I'm going to make sure and take this length right here plus how much glue goes in each fitting, and I'm going to glue this up so this fitting is down on the ground. Alright guys, so I'm going to dry mock this up real quick and make sure I like how it fits. It's a little bit off the ground, so I'm going to actually glue it up where it's not shoved in quite all the way. Let me see how short I am. Oh, I'm not bad, actually. I'm within a 1/16. I can also put something underneath it and shim it underneath. Let's see here. So we'll go ahead and get this bottom piece glued up here. And I need to get it aimed right. Glue. Man, that is some older goopy shit. Just making sure to get plenty of glue on there. I don't want this friggin' thing leaking. Just making sure it's not bridging inside of here in any way, shape, or form. So it's older glue, it's thinner. Okay. Now we're gonna come out this way. Come out this way. Do I want it directly 90 or do I want it a little less? Maybe a little less than 90. Man, that is some stringy, poopy glue. Now I've heard ABS glue does not melt the parent material like PVC glue does. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm sure some plumbers could comment. Oh, don't get dirt in there. And so I just want to make sure I got this aimed right before it cures up. Right there. Gonna work fantastic. Fantastic plastic. Now I'm gonna put my straight run in next because I don't want this to be cocked too far swung back towards the camera. I want to make sure it's planar with the top of the vault, so I'm gonna get that on next. So make sure that hasn't moved and we're good. So I'm gonna kill you guys here for a sec. All right, guys, the idea here is to have the overburden not being able to push down and create tension. So this pipe's all the way down. I held this in place, made sure it didn't slip out while it was gluing up, and I've got this last connection up here to make. But this is touching all the way across, so the overburden can't push on this ABS. I wish this was PVC. I wasn't willing to pull the pump out, so we're gonna switch over to PVC down at that end, down here. All right, guys, so what happened is when I went to shove the fitting in, it almost shoved the pipe inside the vault, and I had to scramble and grab it, and I got like 90% off my fingers, but I basically had PVC glue gloves. So yeah, don't let that happen to you. Don't let the pipe shove in. So what I did is I grabbed a pair of pliers, I pulled it back out, I quickly re-doped the male side, held on to the pipe, and fit it and twisted it and got it back on, and I'm happy with it, other than I got ABS glue everywhere on my hands. Good thing it comes off easier than PVC glue. Anyways, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to glue... sorry, guys. I'm going to glue... I'm going to do a PVC to ABS transition. PVC to ABS transition. That requires... In my area, it's green. I've also seen orange. Green transition glue. And we'll make this transition here. All right, I got dirt on there that I'm gonna have to clean off. One thing you'll notice is that the PVC fitting is a much deeper fitting than ABS fittings are. The glue joint's much deeper. All right, I think we're good there. I gotta clean that up. Okay. All right, guys, so I'm going to heat this up and bend it. Whenever I can, I prefer bending because you can make a more gradual bend. And with this electrical, I don't want too hard 90s, so we're going to bend this up. I'm going to leave about, I don't know, that much unbent. And when you're bending, you want to make sure you don't scorch the outside of the PVC. You want to bring it up to temperature in a big area, so however much you heat, it will be your bend and you can burn it, so you have to be careful. Alright, and so I can just form that into a nice soft 45. I'm going to do it towards you guys so you can see it. And it'll thermoset here in just a second. It'll cool down, and once it cools down, then I can let go of it. Okay, shaped. Now I'm going to put another S bend in it, so I'll get 245s. Still quite hot. And I'm I'm gonna set it on the ground and mark up to where I want it to bend straight. That's how I'm gonna get my offset. So I'm gonna set this on the concrete, and then I'm gonna mark it with a marker at the actually I'll mark it probably at the bottom of where I want it to net out. So we'll get that marked up with a permanent marker. All right, we want the bend offset at 6.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is hold this here, and I'm going to measure up to 6.5, which is right about, I'm going to go to center line, which is helps to have two people, but I can do it. So that would be center line right there. So we're going to make this area soft. And then when I go to form the part, I'll actually take the tape and sort of hold it up at 6.5 and see what, get it close. We're having if you guys are wondering, it's the middle of February and it's 70, so it's crazy, but that's why I'm sweating. So anyways, we'll get going. I'm going to mark the table, guys. There we go, center line. And if this is 1-inch pipe, I can go 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch there. 1/2 inch there. There's the bottom edge of my pipe. Oh, there we go. All right, guys, it finally, holy smokes. All right, my video says 11 minutes drying time, so that, or total time, heating, getting it to shape, making sure my line was, or my angles were right, and then letting it cool down. Now, if I had everything mounted and I had room to work and I could get things shoved in, I could just heat it up and glue it and let it cool in the shape that it would naturally take. But in this case, I'll be trapping it when I glue it because I'm going to bolt the box down. So talk to you guys in a bit. All right, guys, so I'm going to prime up here. Primer's almost empty. And I just use the end of this to deburr the hole. And that way the cable hopefully won't catch in there. The stranded whatever it's called cable. Get that good and primed. Get this good and primed. Make sure they got a good coating of primer. And my PVC glue's pretty chunky, pretty old and goopy. So, and it's huge for what I need it for. So I'm just gonna glue one side. I'll get a little bit in there and make sure it's straight up and down. There's way, way, way too much glue. And that's why I carry paper towels. So we're gonna wipe off the excess. Clean it off the table. Make sure that didn't shove out, which it didn't. And throw it on the ground, pick it up later. Yeah, this glue is super chunky, but I am not running to the store. So we're gonna check this and see how well it lines up down there in the hole. I'm gonna trim off the extra, by the way. That's not bad. It's a little low. Trim off a whole bunch of it though. All right. All right, guys, so I'm gonna trim off like this much of it. We'll leave some going in there. And then just gonna deburr that. Don't want any chafing to happen. And we're going to sand the outside real quick because it's very sharp. And that's going to go inside the vault in the riser. And we'll go get that fitted up, get the wires pulled through. Alright, so we're going to get the wires pulled through. Got them taped out of the road here. Get that later. Hopefully they just all shove through. Yep. All the labels are still on too. Okay. So, can you guys see that? So it's shoved in. It's not a watertight connection in there. But this is where I'm going to mount it. I got plenty of extra whip, so that's how it's going to go. And I got to glue the other fitting in, which I just realized I should have already done, so I get to pull that all back out. But you get the idea. All right, let's try this again. So you guys may be able to see that I already got that side bolted down. And you guys can you see it now? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna tighten this side down. And then we're gonna loosen this side up enough to drill this side and maybe pound that down a little more. Okay. Yep, okay. And alrighty. Alright. That is not going anywhere. Alright, I'm assuming you guys can see that. So this thing's down tight and it's in the riser portion. So there's my offset right there, my box. Alright guys, so this is where the contractor did not glue the two together. I made a mistake and bought schedule 40. I probably should have bought schedule 80. I didn't know that this was, I didn't look. I should have bought schedule 80, but I didn't. So it is what it is, but at least it'll be glued together. And then it's always a pain to get inside of here because there's wires, but we'll get it figured out. Lots of glue, lots of glue. Make sure this fitting don't come apart again. Alright guys, we'll give that a second to set up. I'm probably right in your face. Sorry guys. Okay. Feed all this in here. Make sure I don't rip off any of the labels. Alright. And then what we're going to do is make sure that this is actually going to fit. Oh boy, that's tight. All right, so I got to clear out a little bit more of that bank there. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is preheat this and well, am I going to do that? No, I think if I dig that bank away. Alright, so I'm having to bend this because when I shove it back, it's like that. So I'm going to make it kick back and be straight when I put it in. So I'm going to heat that up. Alright guys, that's enough. Alright, we're going to go ahead. Do I got time? Yeah. We're going to go ahead and glue this up. Alright guys, here's another something that probably isn't right. You know, I just don't know. I'm not an electrician. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that think I shouldn't be doing this, and that's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. But I'm going to use butt connectors, crimpable ones. They're heat shrink, and I just think wire nuts suck. So I'm going to make a permanent connection, and I'm going to do it with butt connectors. And so we'll just go for it here. Alright guys, let's try another round of this. So now I got smaller connectors. Hopefully they're going to fit better. Ta-da! The question is, are you still on? You are. And YouTube, for the crowning achievement award, goes to Scudwoofer. I put a little bit of primer on there to stick the gasket down. I decided I'm not going to use silicone, and we'll see how that goes. I think it's tweaked because I put pressure on it. All right, YouTube. Oh, my back's killing me. Hopefully you guys can see me here. So I think we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Tomorrow we'll come back and heat bin that 2-inch PVC, hopefully. I don't have a heat blanket. You can buy heat blankets for like 200 bucks on Amazon or whatever, but I think I can probably bend it with that heat gun. It's going to take a little bit to warm up, but it's not 200 bucks, eh? So we'll get that heated up and dry fit and get it cut, and I got to bend the one over there and get it lined up with the ditch, and I'll show you guys the run here real quick. Oh, sorry. So you can see it come out right there, and it goes around. We heat bent it around that, what I'm guessing was a vent option. And there's our install. Should be fairly water resistant. And then there's our new pipe, our trench, going out to the existing line. See you guys tomorrow. Ugh. All right, guys. So we'll recap kind of what I did this morning and I think maybe yesterday. I can't remember what day it is or how long it's been since you guys, since you guys have talked to you or whatever. So we'll go over here first. So what's I did yesterday, and I didn't bother showing you guys because it's kind of the same thing. I bent that PVC, and you can see it's a little sharp for the ditch, and I was sort of guessing, and so you can see it's hitting right there, and it should have been bent a little wider, but it's okay. And then it goes down, and you can see this morning I bent this section here, and that was really difficult because there was water in the line, sewage water, and so it didn't want to heat up. So digging bar and shovels and a lot of patience to heat up the pipe. It took a long time to get it up to temperature, and it never really got to the soft point, so I basically worked my way down the pipe, and just once it started to move in one section, just kind of let that heat flow to the next part of the pipe, and just worked my way around the pipe until I got up to where I wanted it to stop bending, and then I left it with a bunch of pressure on it. I actually had it bent past where I wanted it to go, because I knew when I let the pressure off it would spring back a little bit. So let it totally cool down, let the pressure off. And then the other thing is, I used the dirt to kind of hold the pipe in position, and so I packed it on this side, and I packed it on, where's my finger, this side, and position the pipes so that they line up perfectly. So I'm going to trim them. I'm going to glue up one of these fittings, and once I trim them up, I'll get the glue set and we'll be all done. So I use this, I don't know if you can see it, I use this 4x4 to pack the DG down underneath the pipe so that the pipe doesn't sink as the ground settles. The DG is already packed. I've got to get the trace wire connected to a new piece, so if they ever dig it up from the pump side, they can find the pipe. And then I've also got to get some tape on top once I cover up the pipe a little bit. So we'll get some glue going here, and you guys will be able to see that part after I cut the pipe size. Alright guys, let's see if I can get this set up. So this blade here was too aggressive. So I'm actually using a Linux metal blade. Hopefully that's cut off pretty square. Yeah, that's not terrible. It's not great though. All right, and then we're gonna get some glue on there. Alright guys, so what I'm doing next is I'm going to cut this off, shove it all the way back. So if I shove it all the way back and cut it off at the D right here, you can't see it in camera, but right there, I'll be able to pull it forward and glue it in. Alright, so it's cut off at the D pretty square. Make sure there's nothing in my glue area. And I'm going to go over to that side so I can push it in. I want to be able to grab it and push it in. This side's stiff, so I don't got to do anything. And to get this up to grade, I lifted up on it and got dirt under it till it's at the height I want. And that allows me to get it right where they're level. Oh man, do I hate working down in the ditch. So what we're gonna do now is test it. We're gonna let it sit for 30 minutes. I'm gonna backfill the ditch to just below the line of the pipe in case something goes wrong, so I can still get to the pipe easily. Just gonna fill it in, compact it down so there's no soft spots. That's boring, you guys don't wanna see that. And then we'll get the last bit of GG over the top and get our tape in. I'll show you that. Oh, I also got to do the ground, or the trace wire, and I just got to cut that off and make a butt connection and run it back to where it goes into the vault. So see you guys in a bit. All right guys, somehow I didn't record that, so I'll do it again. There's the trace wire. I made one connection right there and another butt connector right there in the middle of the screen, right there, and it's glued up. and I'm hoping for a successful pressure test and that nothing comes apart. So I'm gonna pull the cover off, get the hose in it, and test it out. All right, guys, this is the end. We'll do a part 2 for the intake. I got the ditch filled. I got my tape lines in, and somewhere about here I also have tape going the other direction because I've got some electrical that runs through there. So it goes out there and stops. Gonna bury that up, get that buried over with an inch or two of dirt, and call it on this one. I hope this helps somebody else who may have busted your sewer and you want to know how to do the best job you can as a homeowner. I'm not claiming that this is to code, so anybody that's going to comment about that, it's probably not to code. But I did it the best that I could, so I hope it helps somebody. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.